Session 9 of the Guildford Junior Chess Club training featured a simple selected openings tournament. The kids really enjoy this session where they get to experiment and try perhaps a lot of different positions from the opening that they haven't tried before. I deliberately try to pick openings which are mainstream but at the same time not very common in junior chess, even at quite a high level. I'm on the lookout for openings which produce good games among kids at this level. And one of the openings that was used last Monday was the Sicilian can variation, which actually you don't see very much at all at junior level. And yet it remains one of the most solid and difficult to crack variations of the Sicilian for black. I'm not sure why it's not popular among juniors. Perhaps they just prefer Najdorfs, Dragons, Sveshnikovs. But the can shouldn't be overlooked. And let me show you a game now which demonstrates the flexibility and adaptability of this particular variation. It's a game from Greece, played in 2009 between Ioannis Simonidis, grade 2666, and Grandmaster Yuri. Well, it's difficult to pronounce his name, but I'm going to try it. Krivon Uchko. And his grade was 2611 at the time this game was played. Ideal opening, I think, for a Grandmaster to try and outplay a weaker player with. Because already after Bishop d3, which is pretty much a common move here, black played the slightly obscure knight to e7. Now, just retracting one move, if we're wondering why white doesn't play knight c3 here, could it be that b5 is quite a good move for black? Certainly it gives black plenty of chances and it leads to a sharp position. So that's probably why white leaves his knight at home. White, of course, could play c4. That's another way to handle the position. And then black generally goes into some sort of hedgehog structure. So there are plenty of transpositional devices that black can use when he adopts this setup. Anyway, bishop d3. Point of that really is to dissuade black from playing b5. When there's no white knight on c3, it's probably not a good idea to play b5 because, well, you can be attacked with a move like a4 and your queenside pawn structure destabilized. You much rather play b5 when there's a knight on c3, so it's better to wait. Well, black played knight to e7 as stated, and white castled. Black brought the knight out to c6. So the first idea is that black's trying to simplify the position with the help of an exchange. And if white takes the knight, then black's going to recapture with his knight and keep a nice position. With less chances for white on the king side. Well, one thing that struck me about this game was that the white player had absolutely no respect for his grandmaster opponent. And he started the charge more or less straight away by playing the hyper-aggressive queen to g4. And it's against this type of play that the black structure tends to react very well, if handled correctly. Of course, your weaker players might get nervous and not handle it correctly. But black just keeps calm, blocks the attack. White marches forward with f4. And now black plays bishop g7, inviting white forward to do his stuff with f5. Now, in the game, black castled, which of course is very sensible. I'm pretty sure black saw bishop takes b2 here. This is quite an interesting line, but didn't play it. Let's just examine what happens here after this startling move. White takes. Black gives a check on b6. White's king goes into the corner, and black grabs the bishop. Then comes knight to d2. Now, how do we judge this? I think white deliberately offered this pawn sacrifice to black because it's pretty risky for black to accept the offer. Admittedly, it's not going to be trivial for white to break through here, with black having good control of the central squares. But white's got plenty of threats. And I'm pretty sure that black, a grandmaster, did not want to concede the initiative in this way to his opponent. So in the game, he just decided to castle and invite white to show what he's got. Well, white's not going to get very far unless he develops the rest of his pieces. So knight d2 makes sense. And now black starts the business of breaking up white's kingside attack before really ever gets going with the excellent move d5. White retreated, queen to h3, but that's an attacking retreat. He's obviously eyeing up the h7 pawn. But there's no real way that White's attack is going to succeed here because Black is too quick. He's too quick, breaking up the White formation. And now comes another very, very good move, knight to e5. At this point, I guess White is probably starting to regret his over-aggressive play in the opening. g4. White continues with his supremely aggressive approach. Black counters in steadfast fashion with h5. And this really is an excellent move, completely breaking up the White pawn formation on the king side. White hasn't got enough firepower in the kingside attack to really do anything here. He took on h5. Black took off the bishop. And now White grabbed the pawn on g6, hoping to make a gain. But the problem is now he lacks a good move. Can't take on g6, loses the queen. Probably has to take on d3. But now the bishop comes out. And Black has got two raking bishops. The only king that is vulnerable here is the White king. And Black can develop the rest of his pieces very quickly, whereas the same can't be said for White. So is it any surprise, with the White king open to the four wins, that actually this game finished very quickly? And indeed finished after rook e8. White resigned. This may seem slightly premature, but I don't think so. The Black player is 350 elo points higher rated than his opponent and faces the wholesale destruction of his position. Already Black threatens to invade with rook e2, and White didn't see any way to defend against it. So that really is a good example of the way the Sicilian can react in Black's favour if White tries to blow Black away in the opening. And it was interesting to see that actually the Can was one of the best rounds in the selected openings tournament. It gave the best contested games. So that's it. We move on to session 10 next week, and we're all looking forward to it.